Hello and welcome back to another Kerbal Space Program IVA mode. No rocket building today. Today we're just going to focus on the mission. This is our craft and it's going to be rescuing Jed, Bob, and Bill from the moon. So we got Valentina piloting. So go ahead and turn on our monitors and everything. Get our warning signs up. Basic checklist of pre-launch. This monitor right here is part of a mod. You have to get vessel view in order to get that image, but I think it's very worth it. And then again, HullcamVDS for that one. We're just kind of jump into it. It's a very eventful episode today, so without further ado, let's go ahead and quick save and launch. So yeah, it's just a standard, pretty by the book launch, around 100 meters per second when we start gravity turn. I like having the camera this low on there to see the wings and control surfaces turn as we angle ourselves to these. It's a clean separation of the boosters. And on this set of boosters I have parachutes and I have stage recovery enabled or downloaded, so we will see later whether or not they were recovered safely and if we'll get our funds back for it. I only did it on the side boosters because I didn't want to bog down the main booster with it. I will just take the loss. So we go ahead and get our camera since we are now in space and without our fairing. We're going to go ahead and deploy our solar panels and our comms antenna. Let's see, we're building a little bit of electric charge there. We got plenty of food because this is a rescue mission. We want to make sure that just in case anything happened, we had enough food for all 4 of them. And now we're just getting ready to circularize our orbit. So we're going to go in full throttle. There's not too much Delta V left in this, so we're just going to watch our vessel view and wait for the flame to go out, and then we're going to stage it right about now. Alright, so now we're on our final, or our transfer stage, I should say, not our final stage. Pretty standard liftoff. Been getting good practice with doing it in IVA mode, so the landing is something I still need to work on. Let's see, as I hit it at 94 kilometers. So now I'm just plotting my burn towards the moon. Not a whole lot to see out the windows. And as we can see, our boosters did get recovered. Everything safely, the parachutes deployed as scheduled. And we have, just checking on our food resources, we've got plenty. Food, oxygen, and water resources. So now I'm just targeting the MUN to bring up a little bit more information. But I didn't realize that on that screen I couldn't get all the information that I wanted. So I brought it up here with the nav bar on the left. And the information in the center is what I'm looking for. That has our closest approach information. It's that CLST APR with the purple numbers at the bottom. So yeah, so we're coming and bringing it in. And I wanted to come around the other side of the planet, so I went past 0 into the negatives, But of course, I overshot it at 157 kilometers. So I go ahead and point myself retrograde and limit my thrust for a little bit better control. And there we are, nice 12 kilometers. So after seeing Jeb's footage of his EVA, Valentina decided that she too wanted to try her hand at it. And since we didn't take any time to show the craft being built, figured I'd give you a nice little shot of it as she floats freely in space. And this is through the eyes of the Kerbal mod that allows you to do first-person views. She turns around, does a little spin, and gets farther than any Kerbal has gotten from their craft, at least in my playthrough. And forgetting which way is up, she takes a little tumble. So yeah, this is the lunar rescue pod. It was hastily built to make sure that she got to the guys in time. So now we're just making our capture burn. And we are now in our final stage, our final booster stage that will take us not only to the surface of the Mun, but hopefully halfway back before we stage off the tanks and then have the one final tank to take us home. And then here we're just angling ourselves so that way we fly directly over the crash-landed ship. We're pointing towards anti-normal. So just lifting, and now we're plotting our actual descent. We go for this angled thing because it's more efficient than killing all your horizontal velocity and then dropping straight down. Valentina feels a little comfortable doing those things. And of course, if she fails, then we can always send a rescue mission for the rescue mission. So we're just chasing our retrograde marker all the way to the top of the nav ball. Make a nice little quick save as we come horizontally down. Our horizontal velocity, not horizontally down, vertically down. Our horizontal velocity is 0 point something, so it's nice. We shouldn't be heading too far one way or the other. So now I'm putting on my lander cam up there in the center. I'm not going to really need the orbital information. And then it's about this time that I decide that I'm a little too far away from the guys. I'm going to have them EVA themselves over to me, so I might as well make the distance as close as possible. So I point towards the target, and then I lift myself up so I'm not slamming into the surface. And I just go ahead and change my trajectory all the way back over to them. And on the left over there is from the ScanStat mod. It gives you a map of the surface, but it takes forever for the thing to load, and I should have actually had that up a long time ago, and then I could have zoomed in on where I need to look at. As you can see, it takes quite a bit to zoom in and do anything, so it's of no use to me at this point. But I think on the future mission I will have that up from the get-go. I might have that in Bill's spot in the engineering seat, and then I can just switch to his view when I need to access it. So yeah, so now we're right on course to meet up with the down craft. We're just coming down nice at an angle. Only 68 meters horizontal velocity. Very easy to kill off. 11 seconds to the surface. That's when I start killing it. I'm just keeping an eye on that number down there on the left, and I have my throttle limited so I don't overshoot and start ascending again. That was the problem with Jeb's craft, or Jeb's piloting, I should say. Val had been thinking this whole way about the things that she'd say to Jeb and how she would rip into him about how careless his flying was, but as she is descending down to the ground, she's just thankful to have gotten there in one piece and with enough Delta V to get home, so she'll be happy to see him when they reunite. Just coming down slowly. Just easing up on the throttle every so often. Just keep the impact speed down, and we have contact. Textbook landing. Until we gain a little sideways momentum because we're on a slope. But luckily, we are saved by our solar panels. The fact that we landed the right angle kept this craft in a decent angle for takeoff. So we go ahead and switch over to the down craft that the guys are in. And we first take Jeb. As the pilot, he's going to be the first one to come back. He's going to be EVAing the whole way there. Luckily, Valentina landed close enough that it can just kind of look in the direction and go and doesn't have to fly for too long. If she had taken her initial landing spot, it would have been a much longer journey for them. So Jeb is excited to be the first person in this new craft, in the Alcor crew cabin, of course. And it takes 2 seconds for Valentina to tell him that he gets to, because since he screwed up, he gets to stay in the Mach 1 crew cabin. The engineering and science seats are going to be taken up by the engineer and the scientist. So he is banished to his own little capsule. So then we go ahead and take Bill out next. Bill decided to have a little fun and said, "Hey, check this out." And to my horror, plunged into the surface, going very fast. And much to my surprise, he managed to recover. Bill is an expert RCS thruster pack pilot. He should be. He designed the thing. And then Bob is going ahead and grabbing all the science, the precious, precious science. Yeah, we should have well over 1,000 units of science from just all that he collected. And then as he's coming in, he spotted a strange little formation on the surface of the mud. So he just goes straight past, and decides to look upwards at Kerbal. Straight past the ship to go check out this little surface feature. And he is not a very good RCS pilot. He's just a scientist. Yeah, so he goes and he claims this little crater in the name of Valentina's rescue mission. And then he gets a message on the radio telling him that he's screwed around for long enough, that he should come back so they can take off. And he comes very close to breaking parts of the ship and potentially ruining his whole mission, but then he catches something out of the corner of his eye. Some weird shape over there. Doesn't look like any of the other lunar rocks. So despite the pleas of his crewmates, he decides to cruise over there, confident that he has enough monopropellant. He's coming in a little too hot, but it's certainly no moon feature that he's ever seen before. Bill would have been proud with a maneuver like that. So as he comes a little bit closer, he sees that it's a monument of sorts. He'd never seen such a thing in his life, and he is definitely excited to fill out the crew report about that. He doesn't know who this Neil Armstrong Kerman is, but he's excited to bring it back to those at the space program. And he has just enough monopropellant to get himself back to the craft, so there's no fear there. All in all, it was an eventful little moon landing. Could have been better. Could have been the initial mission could have gone correctly the first time, but it wouldn't be Kerbal if it went right the first time, every time. So excitedly, with the boys in tow, Valentina lifts off from the surface, gives herself a little bit of height, and then eventually turns towards the horizon to start to circularize. Go ahead and plots that into the flight computer. If you didn't see the last episode, the flight computer is from the Remote Tech mod. All the relevant mods are going to be listed in the description. And with that, the last of the fuel is depleted from the side boosters that the landing legs were attached to, and so now we have just the final stage to bring us home. So go ahead and plot our escape ejection, our escape ejection. And then we burn. And we are now in orbit of Kerbal. So we go ahead and plot our capture, and we figure out that we can make a flyby of the moon that will give us a gravity assist to bring us in closer for a lot less Delta V. And Valentina, being the ace pilot she is, knows how to make the best of these maneuvers. So we go ahead and get Bill out there to kind of lose some of the parts that are going to probably end up burning up in the atmosphere upon reentry. We do leave the camera, of course. We can't put the lights anywhere, so we decided to just leave them floating in space. So we do that with the rest of the trash. It'll become space debris. We'll clean it up later. Should have made it space trash, but didn't think about it. So now we come close to our next maneuver node, or apoapsis. So we decided to make a maneuver node at our periapsis. We're going to be within the atmosphere at that point, but we're going to use our engine, the last of our fuel, to slow us down and bring our apoapsis from 14 million meters down to just 9. So we go ahead and get our descent stage ready. Our radiators are on. I don't trust the flight computer, so I decided to go ahead and kill it and handle this manually. We're starting to overheat. Cabin temperature is getting really high. Alarms are going off. We're rotating, spinning wildly to try to distribute the heat evenly so it doesn't heat up one place more than the rest. And our fuel tank has been spent. So we go ahead and eject it, and it's just hovering just in front of us. And then disaster strikes. Jeb still manages to realize, seeing the pieces of his fallen comrades rush past him. capsule doesn't have a heat shield, doesn't have a reaction wheel, it barely has any control at all. Hastily, Jeb looks at the mission log and can't even believe what he's reading. He too starts getting overheating warning, so he starts spinning his craft. Rotating wildly and not even on a perfect retrograde. Anything he can do to keep that heat from going in too far into the red. He tries to throw on the retrograde SAS hold, but there's no control. Jeb's now passing through the atmosphere. Having gone through one aero brake, he realizes he's going to have to go through that atmosphere all over again. And without any kind of way of keeping electricity or controlling the craft in any other way, he's going to be at the mercy of the forces at that point. Back down, he's back in the atmosphere with an apoapsis of 118 kilometers. He's got a long way to pull himself down until he can land. And now he's just flipping every which way. Jeb is mashing the controls, trying his best to keep it flat and straight until he can get a moderate control. So far everything seems to be holding steady, but the temperature is rising and control has been lost. Still can't believe it. Seems that the worst is behind them. One of Valentina's last actions was to hit the descent button and deploy, or to arm the parachutes, one of the few pieces of the ship that he has left, and as the drogue chutes extend at the appropriate altitude, he knows that Bill programmed them correctly. Val executed it, even from beyond death, that they were helping him to ensure his life goes on. 0.5 kilometers. Chutes extend. Main chute. It's a guaranteed safe return now. All he has to do is wait. Jeb's heart is racing, his mind is racing. He's constantly checking his gauges and machines, unsure of anything else that he can do. All he can do is wait and remember his friends. And with a splash, he's back on Kerbal. It was a mission success. By all accounts, it was a rescue mission, and he was rescued. But at what cost?
Let's open up the